What the hell's wrong with you?
Nothing.
Like,
I'm
what
sorry.
are you
I'm
thinking?
sorry.
What are you thinking?
I had to run and flee at a time when there was no word for this. This was normal. Your partner beat you up.
You play those stupid games with me, I'll knock your teeth out of your face.
My husband went into one of his rages. It's horrible. It's humiliating. You have no self-confidence. You feel like a doormat.
What the hell's wrong with you? Honestly.
I couldn't go get help for it. I couldn't call the police for it.
You don't know what to do. Look at your stupid ass. Look at the way you look.
Like, I didn't want to tell my parents. I didn't want to become dependent on them financially.
You're so stupid. Worthless.
Don't touch me
You're
like that.
worthless.
Fear and two little babies, I was like, I gotta go. So, you know, wit and I don't know, terror and et cetera, drove me to go.
Hello, honey.
Where are you?
I'm afraid to come home. I'm afraid to come home.
You stupid ass heifer. What you mean you're afraid to come home? You better bring my son home. If you don't bring my son home, I'm gonna kill you, heifer.
I don't want you to hurt me.
Where
I'm
are you?
afraid to come home.
My Sister's Place began in the mid-'70s as a small grassroots organization, grew out of a handful of women, and they were all from Yonkers. They started the Yonkers Women's Task Force, and they saw themselves as a multi-service agency, not only domestic violence, but looking at a whole multitude of women's issues.
And one of the first things I did was have a coffee where Charlotte Watson came and spoke at my house, and it was an introduction to everything about domestic violence that I don't think many people in the room, including myself, had thought about before.
When I think back, it was all about education then, too, because what we were talking about and standing up and having groups, that's what we were talking about, and what can we do about it. So where did we learn what to do about it, except from the people that needed the help, because they're the ones that know.
So they decided to open a shelter. About that time, there was funding available from the state to open a special care home.
You know, I did the newsletter. It was all, you know, cut and paste and run around and plop them in mailboxes or stick them under doors and, you know.
We had women all over Westchester going to different stores, telling them about My Sister's Place, letting the issue of domestic violence get more publicity, but in a fun way where we all got discounts and could go shopping.
What grabbed me was just the importance of the work that My Sister's Place did, and how meaningful and how important and how much these women were in need, and what we could do and what I could possibly do in terms of helping these women.
And I spent a lot of time talking to people and figuring out what legislative changes were desperately needed and could be obtained and would make a big impact on their actual lives. And so I would develop pieces of legislation, write legislation, go to Albany and try to get those things passed with the legislators.
Well, their work is a matter of life and death. People get killed every day. I mean, it's not a joke. Women need help, and they need to be safe, and they need to have a place like My Sister's Place to be able to help them survive.
That's what government is supposed to be about in its purest forms, is making sure that we are protecting those that need the assistance and providing a path for them to be self-sustaining.
It's very hard when they come in and they're broken and they come into the support group and they don't want to talk and they're really a shell of themselves. I mean, they feel like they'll never get out of this.
And from that program is how I decided to go back to college. I now have a college degree. I graduated at the top of my class. So when you're in that emotional situation where you feel, you know, my ex had me feeling dumb as dirt, and then you graduate at the top of your class, it just, excuse me, helps you. They're just amazing. They give you the tools. You just have to utilize them.
We often have clients who come to us that are in very, very difficult situations, and we help them. We help them out. We help them to climb out of wherever they are.
We have to listen to what they need, and that's what we have to deliver in the most professional way possible.
But they were there, and if it wasn't for them, I don't know where we'd all be today. I don't even want to think about that part.
Our training program is extensive. We're at the police academy training new recruits. We train judges and police officers. We go to churches and places of worship to just get the message out there that there's no community immune to this serious issue.
People have an idea what domestic violence is because they watched a movie or seen a video, but then I get to come in and either buttress some of what they know or completely dispel the myths.
For probably the last 4 years, we've really been focused on young people and the next generation and how to get out there and educate people and make people aware that, that this is a problem.
So when I started 9 years ago, we were seeing victims of domestic violence as spousal abuse, and that has progressed into recognizing victims of crime, domestic violence crime and sexual assault, and now most recently human trafficking.
You know, when I was in Cambodia, human trafficking was, I think, much more visible. You would see girls lined up, you know, in front of restaurants.
The power and control dynamic through all of those different types of suffering is parallel, but it each has its own way of manifesting.
And was just so shocked to learn that all of these horrible things that were happening in Cambodia were actually happening right here in White Plains.
It's not just about the message you give in the moment to a young person about changes they can make. It's about how far that message reaches and a sort of pay it forward mentality of spreading our message, which is so important.
The biggest victory for me has probably been just the small things, being encouraged by seeing women who are returning to their counseling sessions week after week and taking the steps to move forward in their life.
The team is incredible, and it's absolutely the best strength of My Sister's Place.
I think what we all do is when there is a success, we scream in the hallways when someone gets something.
When my mother heard of a woman who was going through a terrible divorce and was forced out of her house and was living under a bridge, and all she had was her Pappagallo shoes, my mother would be so proud of what My Sister's Place has accomplished. And she'd be so proud that not only I'm still involved, but that her granddaughter Margaret is also involved. So I guess I'm hoping that in another 15 years I'll be back and Margaret will talk about how proud I would be at all the work that My Sister's Place is still doing for the thousands of women in Westchester.
As a community, we are reminded all too frequently of our responsibility to make a difference in the issues of domestic violence and human trafficking. And for that reason, and many others, we are proud of our continuing affiliation with My Sister's Place.
It's been an extraordinary change, and it has been, quite frankly, invigorating. It has been quite wonderful that we have been able to move things forward in a way that I've never seen. And so what's exciting for me is that My Sister's Place stands strong, is a beacon in the community, and is a force to be reckoned with on all fronts.